Hello my friends, welcome back. We are just about finished with the joinery for this spice rack. We have only a couple more videos left, so make sure you get your comments in so you get registered to win. What we're going to do today is we're going to measure the back. Measure and cut the back to size and fit that. So I have a clamp here because we have that board that was bowed. But this is what we have so far. We have, this board is centered in. I took some time and I centered it into the bottom of the box one final time. And then I drew a line right into that so to make sure you get this lined up, because there's a little bit of wiggle room in the middle here, which actually turned out really nice for this because I can move it around a little bit and get it perfectly centered. Now what we have to do is we've got to figure out the distance between inside of here for each side. So what I need to do is this groove is, how deep is this groove? Just shy of 3/8 or 3/16. Just shy of 3/16. So I need to add 3/8 to the distance between on the sides. So we've got a pencil and write these down, because when I take it apart, I want to make it go back. I don't want to have to take it apart and put it back together all the time. So I'm going to mark down my sizes here. So I have 6 inches plus 3/8 for the distance. 6 by 3/8. Just double check. Whoa, good thing I didn't double check that. I have actually 5 and 5 1/4. Whoa! Double check things. So 5 1/4, so we need 6 1/8 is the total depth. I'm actually going to take it back 1/8. So I'm just going to do 6 because I want to have a little bit of a gap inside for expansion and contraction. Ten and 1/4, 10 1/4, so that's good. So we have 6 by 10 and I'm going to go 2/8, so 10 and 1/4, right? Ten and a half, I'm sorry. So I'm going to go 10 3/4. A little bit of space. Should be the full distance. So that gives it a little bit of play on the top and bottom. Let's see if both of these are the same. 10 and 1/2. 10 and 1/2, good. Yep. So if I make 2 panels, 6 by 10 1/4, that should fit. We'll double check it before we're done, but we're gonna start with that. So this needs to come apart again. Sorry, I don't know how much of that you saw. We need to keep some of these things to measure from. But for now, okay, so I don't like this purple, so I'm definitely going to keep this as my back. I'm going to make 2 reference edges to make this easier to cut, since we don't need this right here. I think one of my sides is... Okay, yep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to joint both these edges and keep both of these as a reference edge. So I'm going to joint this edge and this edge. So I'm going to do that. Well, I'll just show you. So this one's already jointed. Well, one mark. Let's see if it's squared. Not at all. Okay. Put you over here. It's smooth, it'll tear out though. So I'm gonna turn it around. And the back side is high. Smooth. The plane is sharp, flexually sharpened. Too far. I backed the iron up, it's taking a little bit heavy cut. Gotta adjust laterally a little bit. one reference edge. I need to smooth this out before I go, but I'll cut it down first. Whoa, tear out the lower. Alright, I had to take it down a little bit farther because there was some tear out off to the side. Might actually be square. Let's see. Ooh, so close. Just about square. The iron must have been a little bit skewed because it keeps going off at the same direction. Sweeper cut, so I need to go this way. That's better. Yeah, so if you keep having getting off square on the same side, it's your lateral adjustment. I probably didn't put this in correctly. The cap iron's probably a little off a square from the edge, because there's no way my plane is that out of square. But so that's what's happening. That lateral adjustment really makes it so you can dial things in really nicely. So now I have a square jointed edge on both sides, so I can use both those as my reference edge. And I'm going to rip these down first. I want to rip them down to 6 inches. And my marking gauge is too small. I'm going to use my square and a pencil. So what I'm doing is I'm just registering off of that edge, and I'm just going to draw a line using the end of my square as a gauge. Panel gauge would make this a lot easier, but I don't have one. So one day I'll make one, but again, tail vise would make this a lot easier too. Someday I'm going to get one of those also. Okay, so now I have these two lines that I need to cut down to and plane down to. So I'm going to stay on the waist side. Waist side of it. So you see, I'm quite a bit of waist. Okay, so now I'm only going to show you one of these and I'll do the other one off camera. But now I'm just going to take this . And scrub that down. Okay. These will be hidden, so all I'm really trying to do is get them, and they're floating in there. Okay. So you can kind of see just a faint trace of the line down all the way. This one's pretty much gone, but what I'm trying to do is just get that. I'm actually going to go a little bit more. I don't think it's square enough. There's just a little bit of a shadow on the other side. Okay, so now I have that one squared up, or at least edges, with my reference edges. And they should be so it's just shy of 6 inches. You see? And that's what we want, and it's same on both sides. Alright, so I'm going to pause so it doesn't keep the videos linked down a little bit, and I'm going to do the same thing on this one. So I will be right back. Hello my friends. I have a bit of a space in this video that is the file was corrupted or something. It's not transferring over from my phone correctly. But I want to make sure I explain what's going on, what's missed in here. All I've done in this video that's not transferring correctly is cut off and I'm squaring up the edges. You'll see when we come back that when I cut one of the ends, I had a little bit of a split off that from on the back side, and that's what I'm trying to fix. So when you see me this next part, you'll see this we've come back and we're a little piece was split off when I cut it down to length. So, but yeah, all I've done up to this is I'm talking about squared off, and I'm showing how I squared off the ends of the boards. So I think up till now I don't know if I've done. Yeah, we've squared up everything else. So it's the same as we've done in other pieces. That's just what we're missing in this part. So no further ado, I'll send you back to the rest of the video. All right, thank you. Bye. A few seconds. I'm going to take that. We're going to leave that alone. It's not set, but it's stuck down enough, but it's still wet. So I'm going to leave that. I'm going to go to this board and cut this one down. So in a few minutes, I'll come back and then we'll plane this off. Actually, I'll probably do that off camera. It's just like the other side. And then we'll come back, we'll have everything all squared off. This edge here, we're going to resurface these boards again just before we finish because they're all kind of rough still. They've got track marks and things. So this will come off when we plane it, and we'll show that later in a second. So I'm going to cut this one back and get these all squared up, and then I'll show you how I fit these into the grooves. And so there. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm back. We've got these two squared up and to size. So yep, they're the same size and square. So what I need to do now is we need to figure out what we want to be the face, what you see on the inside, and what you see on the back. I personally don't like this like weird purpley line, so I'm going to put that to the back. And this corner here, I dropped it on the ground, so I got it dinged up. So I'm going to put that to the back too, and I'll explain why right now. So I'm going to mark that, make sure we keep it the same. All these marks are going to be going away in a second, but I want to just make sure. Okay, So now we need to fit these into the grooves. So with this, I have the one that I cut by hand and one of the ones that I cut with the plow, just in case. The plow ones are all the vertical up and down, so that's what I'm going to use to measure the sides, and this I'm going to use to measure the back, the end grain. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this basically like we did the roundovers. Oh, and I also want it to be flat on the front. The back I'm going to have a little bit of a cove because this is how they were done originally. This is how framing panels. If you look at old antique furniture, you'll see that to fit into grooves, they just plane off the edge. In the same way you'd make like a raised panel. So okay, I do the end grain first, and then the edge grain. Because if there's any tear out, you want to be able to repair it when you plane off the edge. So I'm going to take my plane, skew it at an angle. I'm going to take it a little deeper to make it go a little faster. To about where I think it'll be. I'm going to take my test piece, and see if it'll fit. So I'm just testing it in this groove, and it's close there. It's about the same all the way along. It's a little bit, it's pretty much dead on right there. Little wide. So I'm going to take just a few shavings back here, but I'm going to take most of it off of this front part. See that little bit of tear out? That'll be fine. That'll be gone in a second. A little bit more. The shoulders of these are really small, so we don't push down hard on it. It's catching a little bit in this middle part, so I'm going to take this down real quick. Might as well surface this whole front side. We're going to do that in a second anyways. But it's catching right there. If you ever get it till it clogs up, I bet the cap iron is not down tight enough. But you'll see all that junk gets pushed up against there. Let's put this cap iron in better. I've had problems with it. I should have just taken it apart when I was having problems with the lateral adjustment. I didn't set it up properly. First time. There. I'm going to take a real fine shaving. Too fine. Okay, so that's ready. Not at all. I'm going to take a scrap piece of wood here. It's leaving track marks. I think it's digging in. So you want to fine tune the squareness of your plane. Okay, so now you have a flat, clean surface. I back it up. I take a shaving off one side. Shaving off the other side. Back it up a little more. One side. So it's a little bit, still taking a little too heavy of a shaving on that. There. There. That's better. Okay, what I'm seeing in this, and you probably can't see it on the camera, I've got track marks. That's probably because one of my plane irons was canted a little bit. And the corners were digging in. Because I don't take much off the corner when I'm playing, when I sharpen this. We're going to have to do this with all the pieces anyways. That's better. Okay. So now the track marks are gone. Now I can go back through and I'm going to test this again. Should be much closer. All right, sorry about that. Good. So that's fits all the way across, all the way down. Do the same thing on the other side, other end. That same face is showing. Skewing the plane. Right off the plane. All right. I just guessed, and it's right down where I want it to be. Now, all we have to do is join up these two edges. So I'm going to put the plane with the board. So I'm watching these lines, these triangles, so that fits almost just basically right to that corner. Now I'm not there yet, but before I go any farther, I'm going to check it. Just in case there's any discrepancy between my chisel, which there is. So I'm glad I stopped. It's just a little bit tight. So I'm going to take a couple more shavings, but I'm not going to go all the way to the corner. I did this backwards. Shoot. Hopefully that's okay. I just messed that up. It'll be fine, it's just floating. It'll be a little loose and jiggly. It was moved around a lot. The side should be this, and the bottom should be the other. So that fits pretty good right there, so it may be okay anyways. So anyways, this is a little bit loose, but it's better to be loose than not enough. You want it to float around in there anyways. I think they have like silicone balls or something you can put in the bottom of these to make it all, it's not do that, not jiggle, but okay, anyways. Okay, so that fits. So this is what we end up with. These corners like that. That'll be, so it's a little bit of a raised panel. That's going to be towards the back. Now, before I move on, because I'm getting ready for gluing up, I'm going to clamp this in the vise and plane off the I'm going to plane off all the marks that we had left. Now, if these were wider panels, like if they were set in deeper, I would pre-finish these panels before I put them in. Because you could have a groove line showing up, but these are such shallow panels that the finish that I have will seep into the corners. So you won't see just from the edge, from the outside of here. They'll seep in, so they won't have a problem with that finish. You won't see a gap. If they're a bigger panel, like a 1/2 inch groove, or you could have, your panel could shrink enough that you'll see a white line around the outside, an unfinished line. But these are narrow enough, I can do it all at the same time. So we won't finish that yet. So I'm going to come back and we're going to do this one next. I'm going to do this one while off camera, and then we'll come back through and we'll fit everything together, make sure it fits, and then next time we'll be gluing up. So it's getting there. Alright, I'll be right back. Okay, so now we're back. We have both the panels done. Now, what I'm going to do is this is going to be our first dry run. This is the bottom. I think one of my sides is 3. So I want this. It doesn't matter, I guess. Okay, so I want this like this. I'm going to put this over here so that this is the plain end. It'll match with my plain, the side that's slightly less colorful. I'm just checking the back for thickness first. See, I almost screwed up. I want this beveled edge to go towards the back. I think I have a high spot down here, but I'll see if it affects anything. See, it's a little bit higher on this side, so there's probably a high spot in there holding it up. Might be okay though, so before I cut anything off, I'm just going to leave it, test everything to fit. There. Okay, now I'm going to put the top on just quickly. I'm lining up these little grooves on the bottom. Good. So it fits like that. This thing bows out, so I'm going to put it more together first before I panic here. All right, I think okay, yep. Checking to see if there's any gaps. Looks good. We're going to put a drop of glue in the center of the top and the bottom of this panel to keep it from shifting back and forth. But there it is, all put together. So yeah. What do you guys think? Just put this a little better in view. So we have, that's our box, our thing. So next time, what I'm going to do is we're going to clean up all the edges, sand everything down, and get ready and glue it up. So next time it'll be a little bit stressful, but the glue ups always are a little bit stressful, and especially with this one since there's so many pieces. But we will get through it, and I will see you guys in a second. All right? Well, tomorrow, I guess, as far as the video is concerned. So there's our spice rack. So I'll see you guys later.